Hi, welcome to Yoga at the Library. We've got a pretty balanced class for you today. It's going to do a little bit of everything, a little bit more flowing than usual because we're ready for it, and there will be not a whole lot of downtime. So it's going to be a nice class. It's going to get you nice and warmed up, and you'll get a good stretch. We're going to begin on our backs all the way down on our mats. And you don't need any props today unless you like to have a blanket or a towel, something to pad your knees. And if you don't have one of those things handy, you can always just use your mat. That's what I'm going to do today. So we're just getting nice and flat on the floor. Knees can be bent or the legs can be long. Noticing which position feels better to you and your back especially. And this might be the first time since you got up this morning that you are laying down. So taking a little scan of your body, noticing where you feel tightness, where you feel release, what feels good, if anything feels uncomfortable. Just taking a look, the legs, the hips, the back, the shoulders, the arms, the face. Feeling gravity pressing down on you from up, I guess, from above you, but it's pressing not just on the top of your head and your shoulders, not holding our feet down to the floor, it's holding our backs down to the floor. So we're noticing how gravity feels a little bit different. Maybe feeling the face pull towards the ears, the belly's soft and shifts in a different way. The legs get to relax, the feet, the shoulders, the spine gets to lengthen. Gravity's pressing down from up. Gosh, that was a good one. We'll check in with our breath, staying still through your body. Just taking several full rounds of breath, inhaling to fill the lungs all the way, and exhaling that stale air all the way out, hugging the belly button in towards the spine to really get rid of that air, make room for fresh. Taking a big deep breath in through the nose and letting it out through the mouth. One more like that, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Alrighty, let's go ahead and bend the knees if they're not bent. Take the arms out wide in a T. Just let the knees fall down to one side on your exhale. Inhale up to center and exhale down to the other side. This wakes up the spine, wakes up the center of your body. Lets you check in with the low back and the hips. Rolls out your glutes against the mat. We got a lot going on in this easy twist. Just swinging the knees from side to side with the breath. And we'll bring the knees back up to center when you feel even. And planting the feet a little bit closer into the booty, keeping those feet hip-width apart and parallel. And we'll begin with the arms down alongside the body. On our inhale, we'll press into the feet to lift the hips up. And exhale to lower all the way back down. Inhaling to lift the hips and the arms up overhead. Maybe the backs of the hands can touch the floor. And on the exhale, we come all the way back down. Moving with the breath. Checking in with your feet, making sure they're not angling or lifting up off the floor. Trying to keep the feet evenly pressing into the floor. Coming all the way down. And we'll extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. We can keep this left leg bent, or we can take it out long. We can hold on behind the leg or not, whatever feels best to you. We're rolling out that right ankle, reversing the circulation a little bit, wringing out some fatigue from that ankle and lower leg and foot. Draining whatever inflammation might have developed there over the course of the day or the week or the year. Switching directions. We'll bring the foot back to neutral. Inhale to flex, bringing the toes towards the shin. And exhaling to point. Inhaling to flex. And exhaling to point. One more of those. Inhaling to flex. And exhaling to point. Then we'll release that leg and take it so it matches the other one. Whether you've got your knees bent or legs straight. And just take a moment to notice how different your legs feel right now. How different your ankles and your feet feel. Temperature, sensation, vibration. Alrighty, we'll hug that left knee in and send the left foot up towards the ceiling, taking whatever position feels right with your right leg. Maybe it's bent with the bottom of the foot on the floor. Maybe it's extended. Maybe you're holding on behind this left thigh, maybe not. We're rolling out the left ankle. Switching directions, noticing whether, depending on whether this is your dominant side or non-dominant side, how coordinated your ankle movements are. And we'll bring the foot back to neutral, inhaling to flex and exhaling to point the toes. Inhaling to flex, exhaling to point. Inhaling one more time to flex and exhaling to point. And we lower this leg to match the other one. Extend both legs long and stretch up with the arms. Stretching from the fingertips all the way down to the toes. That's why it's called a good morning stretch. And then we'll hug both knees in nice and close. Round the spine, rock and roll to come all the way up into a seated position. And we'll sit here in our easy seat, our Sukhasana. If this is not easy, if this feels terrible for you, You can always sit up on a blanket folded up, or on a pillow, or on a towel folded up works really, really well. Anything to take some of the angle out of the hips and the knees if you need to. So we're sitting up nice and tall here, rooting evenly through both sit bones. Shoulders are dropped away from the ears. Hands are wherever it's comfortable. We're going to do a quick scan of the body. Feeling the edges of the feet and the ankles pressing into the floor. Feeling a little bit of a weird bend in the knees and the hips. Maybe feeling a stretch through the knees and the hips. Sit bones are evenly pressing into the floor. We're not leaning farther onto one side than the other. Spine is lengthening up towards the ceiling. The chin is level with the floor. The core is strong to hold us up tall. The shoulders are relaxed. Let's go ahead and take a big deep breath in. Take the arms out wide and up. And exhale, the hands come into the heart. Alrighty, we'll inhale the arms out and all the way up. And then we'll exhale down to one side. Reaching up and over. Inhaling up to the center. And exhaling down to the other side. Waking up the obliques. Waking up the spine and the shoulders. When you feel even, coming back to center. Arms stay extended upwards, and we'll twist, taking one hand across to the opposite knee, one hand behind. Inhaling to lengthen through the spine, and exhaling to twist, using the knee for a little leverage point. Inhaling, coming on up, and exhaling to twist in the other direction. Moving with your breath, inhaling up and exhaling to twist. We'll do one more on each side. Meeting back at center, bringing the hands back through heart. And we will switch. Oh wait, we're not switching ankles yet. Hold on. We're sitting up nice and tall with our ankles how they are. Taking the fingertips to the floor with the spine long. Big deep breath in here. And on our exhale, we're walking the fingertips forward. Maybe 1 inch, maybe a foot, maybe farther, maybe somewhere in between. Taking a big deep breath in with the spine straight. And then we'll exhale to fold all the way forward. Even if you just fold a couple inches, maybe feeling a stretch through the back, maybe feeling a stretch through the hips, the sides of the legs. Feeling the stretch where you feel it. And if you need more, you can always walk the hands farther. You can always take the elbows down. You can stack shins one on top of the other rather than cross the ankles. Finding the stretch that is your stretch today. And we'll carefully make our way on up. Switching ankles now. Opposite ankle comes in close or comes on top, depending on your variation. Sitting up nice and tall, rooting through both sit bones, and the fingertips come down towards the floor. We walk the fingertips forward as far as we can with a straight spine. When you get to that point, take a big deep breath in. And on your exhale, let your spine melt. Resting the back of the neck, letting the head just hang heavy. Letting the weight of your body and gravity open up your hips. It's a really passive stretch. Coming on up. Holding on to both knees, we're going to make big circles with the chest. So we're rounding back, separating the shoulder blades, rounding over to one side and pulling the heart forward. Making big circles. Checking in with the whole center third or so of the body. Noticing if you feel any tightness, noticing if you hear any crunching, just taking note of what's going on in these parts of your body, switching directions. What's going on in the low back, the top of the pelvis, maybe even the rib cage. Coming back to center. And we'll take some arm circles. So bringing the palms together at the heart, taking a big deep breath in here. Exhaling, palms pressing forward. Inhaling, palms come up. And exhale, reaching the hands back, and maybe they interlace. Inhaling to lift the hands, lift the chin, open the heart. And exhale, hands come back into center. Deep breath in. Exhale, separating the shoulder blades, rounding the spine. Inhaling on up. And exhaling to reach back. Inhaling to open the heart. And exhaling, hands come to center. One more. Deep breath in. Exhaling, palms press forward. Inhaling, palms up. Exhaling, hands reach back. Inhaling to open the heart. And exhale, hands come into center. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and roll out the wrists a little bit. Maybe backs of the hands together. Maybe just shaking them out. Giving them a little bit of a rub. Because we are going to come into tabletop. So we're coming into our tabletop position. And if you would like to fold your mat over for some extra cushion, that is always an option. Just a little double padding underneath the knees or blanket or towel. We want to find a neutral spine, long from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Belly's hugging in rather than hanging down towards the floor. We'll inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, lift the chin with control. Exhaling, rounding up through the spine. Tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin. Moving with the breath. Or alternatively, compressing and lengthening the spine. Exploring its range of motion in these directions before we stretch side to side again. Taking any movements as you're flowing with your cat and cow, forward or back or up and down, bending into the elbows, tucking into the toes, whatever feels good to you. Making our way back to the neutral spine. We'll take the right leg out long behind us, just level with the hip. The toes are pointing straight down towards the floor, so not out to the side, but straight down towards the floor. And we'll take those toes over to the left side of the mat. Then we're looking over the left shoulder toward the heel, getting a big stretch from the right shoulder all the way to that right heel. Carefully lifting the toes and bringing that knee back to match the other one. Recentering ourselves. And we'll take the left leg out long, level with the hip. Toes point straight down towards the floor. Strong through your core, neutral through your spine. And we'll take these toes out to the right side of the mat. Looking over the right shoulder towards that left heel. Big side stretch from the left shoulder all the way to the left foot. We'll carefully come back to the neutral tabletop position. Taking the knees wide, big toes together, we're going to come back for our first child's pose. So maybe just the elbows come down. Maybe the forehead comes down. Maybe you make a little pillow for your forehead. Whatever feels best to you today. Take your elbows out to the sides though to give them a little break. To give the arms a little break. Noticing, again, this is a really passive stretch that has a lot of gravity in it. So the weight of our bodies is stretching our legs and our hips and our feet here. With the help of gravity, we are getting a stretch through the fronts of the knees, the fronts of the ankles. The heaviness of our lower body pulls the tailbone down. The heaviness of our heads pulls our upper spine down. We get a long arch through the spine. And we just hang out here and breathe and let it happen. Another big deep breath in here, noticing how everything gets a little tighter on your inhale. And then we'll exhale, letting it all out, getting softer. We'll make our way carefully to tabletop. Bringing the knees back underneath the hips, and then we're going to come all the way down onto our bellies. So bringing the elbows down underneath the shoulders, so the upper arms are straight up and down like pillars. The palms are to the floor, the tops of the feet are to the floor, so the toes are pointed, and we're getting another passive stretch here. So this is the position, this is a yoga pose, it's called Sphinx pose. You can sit in this position for 10 minutes and read a book or check out your phone or watch a TV show, and you're doing yoga even if you're in your bed. I do it every night, and it's a great back bend. It's also a really good shoulder stabilizer, and you reverse a lot of the crouching forward, bad posture that we experience when we sit at a desk or in the car or look at our phones or our computers all day. So this is a really good trick. It is a yoga pose to hang out like this for 10 or so minutes a night, especially, so you can reverse all that compression through the spine that you accumulate during the day. You can do yoga in your bed. So this is that yoga pose. If this feels great, stay right here. Palms can press into the floor to straighten the arms and lift the elbows for a little seal pose. And for seal pose, we can take the legs a little bit wider. We can take the hands a little bit wider. Kind of makes the compression move up and down the spine. Taking a big deep breath in wherever you are. And we'll lower all the way down, all the way down. Maybe taking the chin onto the hands or the chin all the way down to the floor. Alrighty, we're gonna come back into that Sphinx pose. We're gonna do another little thing. So we're bringing the feet back close to each other, the knees really close to each other. And this, let's see, this is gonna be a really individual kind of thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bend the right knee, and then we're taking it straight. We're bending the left knee and taking it straight. And if you notice, you feel like your hamstrings are gonna cramp up here, you are always welcome to give yourself a little rub. It opens up your shoulder to give your hamstrings a little rub. So we're just 2 more times, bending the right knee, bending the left knee. This opens up the front of the body, bending the right knee, and bending the left knee. It also strengthens our hamstrings without us having to be standing, which is really nice. Alrighty, so we got our second Sphinx pose in. We'll take the hands down underneath the fronts of the shoulders, pressing on up, and we'll come back into that child's pose. So the knees are wide, the big toes are together, forehead is low down towards the floor. And this time, extend the arms up overhead. So walk those fingertips as far above your head towards the top of your mat as you can. We're opening up the shoulders before we do our next yoga challenge. Taking a couple deep breaths here. Noticing how the breath changes the sensations in the pose. Noticing whether you're getting a little bit lower down towards the floor as your muscles and connective tissue stretches. Alrighty, we'll make our way to tabletop. And if your mat is folded over, now is the time to unfold it. If you've got a blanket on your mat, go ahead and keep it on your mat. Let's see. We're going to take the hands forward, tuck the toes, and come up into our first downward facing dog. So the knees are going to stay with a gentle bend, maybe even a little bit bigger than a gentle bend, maybe a big bend. Alternating, pressing one heel and then the other down towards the floor. Feeling the strength and stability of the shoulders. And we'll find stillness through the legs. Taking a big deep breath in to come up onto the tippy toes. And this is a yogi's choice moment. You can come down into tabletop. Inhale, come back up into downward facing dog. And alternate with the breath. Exhaling, the knees come down into tabletop. Inhaling up into downward facing dog. Or you can come into a modified plank. So the booty shifts forward, making a straight line, and then we come back up into downward facing dog. Or you can come into a full plank. We're going to do 5. Unless you've already been doing them with me, then you'll do 8.
of whatever version of this you like, coming into full plank, modified plank, or tabletop. And the focus here is on the shoulders. So of course we want to keep our core strong, but the focus is to strengthen the shoulders so that you can hang out in downward facing dog and have really, really stable, strong shoulders. Alrighty, once you make your way into your last downward facing dog, plant those feet about hip width apart, and we'll take a big bend in the knees and we'll walk the hands back towards the feet, hanging out in a forward fold. Top of the head hanging down towards the floor. Feeling some sensations through the arms. The arms just did a lot. Working through those downward facing dog flowing things. Shake the head, no. Nod the head, yes. Letting your upper body be long and relaxed. We'll inhale to come halfway up, bringing the spine flat and level with the floor. Exhaling to fold all the way down. Bending the knees and rolling all the way up to stand. Standing up nice and tall with the feet hip width apart. Just standing still on your mat. We've been moving. We're going to move a little bit more. So having a still moment in between. Rooting evenly through both feet. Pointing the kneecaps straight forward, the same direction the feet are pointing. Hips are stacked over the knees. Shoulders are stacked over the hips. Torso straight up and down. Core is strong. Chin is level with the floor. We can shine the palms forward to open those shoulders. Open the collarbones. Alrighty, we'll begin flowing. Let's take a big deep breath in. Arms come out and up. Exhaling to fold forward and bow. Inhaling, long flat spine. Exhaling, folding down. Inhaling to come out and up. And exhaling, the hands come into the heart. We'll do 2 more like that. Inhaling, arms come out and up. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhale, long flat spine. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling, arms come out and up. Exhaling, hands come into the heart. Inhaling, long, high lift. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling, long flat spine. And exhaling on down. Coming all the way out and up. And exhaling, hands into the heart. So if you are still at the bottom of your mat or somewhere in the middle, let's make our way all the way to the tops of our mats, because we're going to do 2 sun salutations. And we'll do them nice and slow. They start, we've already done 3 of the first half of the sun salutations, so you know what that's already going to be. Here we go. Inhaling, the arms out wide and all the way up. Exhaling to fold forward and bow. Inhaling to a long flat spine. And exhaling all the way down. We bend the knees here all the way until we can take the hands down, and then we step one foot and then the other back to our downward facing dog. This is where we come into our plank or our modified plank. Take a big deep breath in. Take the knees down and then lower the heart all the way down. Point the toes. Inhale to lift the heart, tops of the feet to the floor. Exhaling, coming all the way back down. Planting those hands, tucking the toes. Coming back to our modified plank, tabletop, wherever you're at. And then coming back to downward facing dog. Big bend in the knees and walk the feet up towards the hands. Inhale, long flat spine. Exhale to fold. Inhale, out and up. And exhale, hands into the heart. That was one. We'll do one more. Arms come out wide and all the way up. Exhaling to fold forward and bow. Inhaling for a long flat spine. Exhaling all the way down. Hands come down. Stepping both feet all the way back to find our downward facing dog. And then your tabletop, your plank, your modified plank. Knees come down, the heart comes down. Pointing the toes, inhaling to lift the heart. Exhaling, lowering the heart. Tucking the toes and pressing on up. Finding downward facing dog again. Big bend in the knees and walk those feet up towards the hands. Inhaling for a long flat spine. Exhaling to fold all the way down. Inhaling, coming out and up. And exhaling, the hands come into the heart. And be still here for just a moment. Feeling the breath, feeling the sensations. Maybe you can find your pulse somewhere without like, taking your pulse. Maybe you can feel it somewhere. That's always a fun yoga experiment. See if you can feel your pulse in your eyes, in your arms. We'll take the arms down alongside the sides, and we're going to come into a balancing position. So let's take the left big toe behind us on the mat, making a little kickstand with the leg. We can stay right here, or we can hinge forward, and as the heart comes down, the toe comes up. Trying to keep that foot pointing straight down towards the floor, so we're not letting it come out to the side. Our shoulders are squared towards the floor, the belly button's pointing down towards the floor, not out to the side. Once you find your leg position, you might take the arms out wide. You might take them up overhead, whatever feels good to you, whatever feels balanced. Strengthening this outer right leg a whole lot. Inhaling to come back upright, and exhaling to release the arms out. We'll do that same Warrior 3 variation on the other side. So planting the left foot, right big toe down to the mat. Arms at the sides to start. We can stay right here, or we can hinge forward till you feel a big stretch in that left leg and a big strengthening in that left leg. It's all going on. Maybe taking the arms out. Maybe taking the arms up overhead. Continuing to breathe and pay attention to the right hip. Make sure it doesn't float up in space. Those toes are pointing straight down towards the floor. Big deep breath in. Letting it all out. We'll inhale to come back up. And exhale to release the arms. Alrighty. Oh, let's come long ways on our mats and take the feet out wide, like pretty wide. As wide as you would like for them to be for you to fold forward and take a nice inner leg stretch. So pretty wide. We still want to keep our feet parallel though. For now. And we'll fold forward here. So maybe the hands come down, maybe just the fingertips come down, maybe your forehead comes down. Just finding your stretch through your inner legs, and you can always adjust your feet once you fold forward. See how they feel. We'll inhale, bring the spine long and flat. And exhale, folding back down. Inhaling, bring the spine long and flat. And exhale, fold back down. Alrighty, this is where we're gonna point our toes out just a little bit. Pointing the toes out, so angling the toes towards the top corners of the mat. And we'll bend one knee and then the other a little bit. If your hands come to the floor, that's great. If you need hands to the knees or the thighs, that's fine too. We're alternating, bending one knee and then the other. Maybe just a little bit, maybe a whole lot. Opening up the inner legs, opening up the groin, strengthening the ankles, strengthening the back body. These are called ninja lunges. Alrighty, let's come with the legs as straight as we can get them, and then we're gonna scoot the feet in just a little bit and do a couple ninja lunges here. They're not so ninja-y anymore. Now it's just kind of like shifting from side to side. And we'll come a little bit closer, scooting the feet all the way to hip width apart, maybe just a tiny bit wider than hip width apart. And then we're alternating, bending one knee and then the other here too. We can still have the hands to the knees, or we can have the hands to the floor or somewhere in between. We're alternating, bending one knee and then the other, alternating, shifting the hips from left to right. And then we'll find an even, still forward fold where we relax the spine, where we let the legs be even, where we just let the upper body hang forward. Taking a big bend in the knees and rolling all the way up to stand. Checking in with how your legs feel, checking in with how your spine feels, checking in with your blood pressure. We'll inhale, taking the arms out and all the way up. And exhale, hands come into the heart. We're going to make our way into a seated position. So however you like to get down into a seated position. Just a regular old seated position. Nothing fancy. Let's take the arms out wide and all the way up. We'll do that same twist we did earlier. So we're exhaling to take one hand to the opposite knee, one hand behind. Inhaling to get long through the spine. And exhaling to twist a little deeper. Inhaling, arms come out and up. Exhaling to twist in the other direction. Inhaling to get tall through the spine. Exhaling to twist.
Coming back to center, hopefully noticing some more movement in the spine this time than first thing in class. Alrighty, let's go ahead and take the bottoms of the feet together. We're going to come into this pose right at the middle of our mats so that there is mat space behind us, because we are going to lay back in this position. So first we're taking the bottoms of the feet together. This is a yoga pose. It is called either cobbler's pose, or if you relax and just rest and hang out in it, it's called butterfly pose. It's a yin yoga pose. So you can sit like this and read a book. You can sit like this and watch a show. You can sit like this and check your emails. But you're doing yoga if you're in this position. And it's a really, really beneficial position for your body. It helps all sorts of things flow. All sorts of energy lines are optimized in this position. You can give yourself a foot massage in this position. You can give yourself a shoulder or neck massage in this position, playing the piano up and down your neck. It's pretty similar to child's pose. Wide knees, getting low towards the floor. It's a relaxing position. And we'll come back upright. And we'll make our way back. So we're bending the elbows to lower the upper body down as carefully as we can towards the floor. Knees are still wide. Letting the heaviness of the legs open up the muscles, the inner legs, the inner thighs, the groin. And if that is too much, you can always take fists outside of the hips. You can always take a rolled up blanket, take it around the ankles, just anything to hold the legs up so they're not just splayed out, hanging in space. Too heavy for your muscles, too heavy for a stretch. Breathing regularly here, letting your belly be soft, letting your body be as relaxed as you can. We'll take the hands to the outsides of the legs and press the knees in towards one another. Bottoms of the feet to the floor. Just letting yourself kind of get used to not being wide open. Close and everything up a little bit. Maybe swing the knees from side to side. We'll extend one leg and then the other out long. Extend one arm and then the other up high. And we'll stretch from the fingertips down to the toes. And we'll hug it all in. Like a little egg. Rocking from side to side this time to massage out the back against the floor. We'll release the knees, maybe taking the bottoms of the feet to the floor, maybe taking the legs out long, finding your final relaxation pose, a position you feel like you can relax in. Trying to find a symmetrical position from right to left, making any little adjustments that you need, any little final movements. Feeling the heaviness of your body against the floor. We began our class today on the floor, and it's always a little shock to lay down on the floor after you've been upright all day. Hopefully, after close to an hour of yoga, your body's opened up, working against gravity, warmed up, stretched out, at least enough that laying down on the floor isn't such a shock. Your body should feel like, oh, that's nice. Rather than, oh my gosh, what have I been doing all day? Feeling your feet against the floor. The legs are heavy and soft. Big muscles pressing into the floor and widening against it. The knees are soft, not gripping any particular position. Feeling the heaviness of the hips and the pelvis, the natural curves of your spine. The belly's soft, the arms are soft, the fingers and the thumbs. The shoulder blades are flat against the floor, letting the heart be open towards the sky. The head is heavy, the neck is long, the face is smooth. We're breathing regularly here for a minute or two, not dwelling for too long on any thought that might arise. And if your mind starts to wander, bring it back. Bring your attention back to sensations in your body. Bring it back to the breath. Begin to deepen your breath. Taking little movements with the fingers and the toes, rolling out the wrists and the ankles. And when you're ready, bending both knees and rolling to lay on one side. And coming on up into a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, hopefully feeling space throughout the spine, the hips, the shoulders. We'll bring the palms together at the heart and close with our 3 deep breaths. Taking a big deep breath in for the womb. Exhaling hands into the heart.
big deep breath in for our community. Hands come into center. And a big deep breath in for ourselves. Hands come into the heart. Thank you so much. Namaste.